Attention all trucking companies that have bad lease purchases. Attention all bad lease practicing companies. Hello? Hi.
Attention.
Now, I mean, let me tell you something, what's going on right now. The country is fed up with trucking companies ripping off truckers. Interesting article I have on predatory lease purchase programs. I'm going to say that word again. Predatory lease purchase programs. They just came out with a bill. It's in, I guess, Congress to be passed. And they're after these predatory lease purchase programs. I'm going to read the article in a second, but here's what I would tell a lot of these trucking companies. If the majority of truck drivers are coming to work for you and they're bringing home $500 a week, or there's weeks where they owe you, and I'm talking about the majority of your drivers. I'm not talking about maybe some truck driver that comes in and he's not good at leasing and he's not working, he's refusing loads, he's going home all the time. Obviously, that guy isn't going to make it. But there's companies, Ruth Ann, out there right now that are literally... you can interview. I've interviewed driver after driver with different companies, and there's drivers out there, and they'll still, a lot of them are coming from the same companies, and what's happening is they're saying, well, I haven't had a check in 3 weeks, or I haven't had a check over $500 since I started. And all it is these companies are bringing drivers in really just to basically make their truck payments. It's really what they're doing. They're using the drivers. Mm-hmm. They don't show them the rate cons, and a lot of them make it up. I've talked to drivers that are doing lease purchases, and these drivers said, yeah, we're supposed to be getting this certain rate, right? And then when I talked to the broker revealed that the load was paying $1,500 more than the company told him. So there's the company, like, let's say a load's paying $3,000. You know what I mean? I'm just giving an example. So let's just say a load picks up in California and it goes to, say, Kansas and it pays $3,000, or it goes to Georgia and it pays $3,000. Well, this guy ran into a broker, and more than one driver told me this. They got to talking to the broker, and the broker told them, yeah, it pays $4,500. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're like, well, hold on. The company told me it pays $3,000. Mm-hmm. And so, and then the one guy told me, he said, now we're no longer allowed to talk to the broker. Right? Exactly, because they found out that these companies are ripping them off. These are predatory leases, and that's only the start of it. A lot of drivers I talk to that are coming out of, the Chicago companies, a lot of those lease purchase companies up in Chicago, right? And this is a big one. I'm telling you guys, the FMCSA is coming for you guys. These predatory leases, they will literally tell the truck driver that the fuel surcharge, they're supposed to get a fuel surcharge. Okay, meaning for the high cost of fuel. Believe it or not, right now, the average price, according to the DOE, is the national surcharge. Okay, if you look it up, right, last week, the national surcharge rate, which would have been the date of the week of, let me look, I just want to, so everybody understands what the actual fuel surcharge was as of last week. What are we on, the 21st? So the week of the 7th through the 13th of September 2025, it was 43.5, okay? 43.5 cents. Now, let me show you the math. This is supposed to be separate from a guy's lease purchase.
Right, separate check and all, as far as I know.
Exactly. This is money they're supposed to get back. Now, watch this. Excuse me, guys. I have to clear my throat. So 43.5 times, let's just say they did 3,000 miles, right? A truck driver should have gotten back a check for $1,350. $1,350, that's not even including what he made. That's what he should have gotten back. But these trucking companies, some of them actually are keeping the driver's fuel surcharge, or they're giving them $50 or $100 or whatever the case is, right? Off of what they're collecting. And so my question, like this driver told me the other day, is, yeah, they'll give us 50% of the surcharge. I'm like, why would a company say to you, we're giving you 50% of the fuel surcharge. The freaking company isn't even paying for the fuel. The truck driver is paying for the fuel. But these companies are taking 50% of the fuel surcharge. Some of them are taking it all, and some of them are just lying outright, and they say, oh, it's built in. So if you're working for a trucking company, I don't care if it's in Chicago or Texas or California or wherever, and actually, most lease purchase companies don't hire California because of the AB5 law. So, but if you're working for a lease purchase company somewhere and you're not getting a fuel surcharge, before you even go there, you should be asking, is there a separate fuel surcharge involved in this job? And if the company says it's built in, you just got lied to. You just got lied to. And you trucking companies that are telling truck drivers this, you're in a lot of trouble because they're coming for you guys. I'm telling you, this is going forward. It's not they already have the bill made up. It's in Congress. It has to be signed and passed. But as soon as this passes, a lot of these scumbag companies that are screwing some of these guys are doing a lease purchase. They call them owner operators. And guess what? They're making half of what a company driver makes.
Right.
What kind of BS is that?
I've heard a lot of horror stories about some of these companies anymore. Like you said, they are keeping the fuel surcharge. They are, as far as I know, you have every right to see the bill of lading,
everything you
that
sign.
Invoice. Yeah, you have every right to see what was paid to that tractor for your run. They can't keep that from you. So if they're trying to tell you you can't talk to the broker, no, you are actually hauling that freight. You have every right to speak to that broker. You are the owner operator. It doesn't matter that you're lease purchasing the truck. You're still doing it all. You have every one of those rights to do that. They don't have that right.
Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today. Hey drivers, I have a question for you. Are you still searching load boards? Are you still booking your own loads? If you answered yes, then I have another question for you. How would you like to find loads faster and easier just by saying these words? Hey Bubba. Introducing Hey Bubba, the most advanced technology in AI dispatching today. No more searching different load boards, no more booking your own loads, no more making phone calls, no more negotiating your own rates. Bubba does it all. And it all starts with, Hey Bubba. So if you want the most powerful AI dispatching tool known to man today, head on over to bubba.ai and download your free version of Hey Bubba today. Again, go to bubba.ai and get your free download today. Attention all trucking companies that have 5 trucks or more. Listen to this message. You are required to keep up to date on all driver records, including driver maintenance, equipment maintenance, ELDs, drug consortium, and all updated paperwork that DOT demands of you. I'd like to introduce to you Wide Open Road Compliance LLC. Wide Open Road understands how easy it is to fall behind on paperwork and get bogged down. We understand that you would like to do what you do best, and that's running your company. So let Wide Open Road take over and manage all your compliance paperwork. For a very low and very affordable cost, Wide Open Road Compliance LLC can give you peace peace of mind and take over all of your DOT compliant paperwork today. All calls are kept confidential. Call or text 859-912-0017. That's 859-912-0017. We're not here to judge you. We're here to help you. Call today. So let me just read it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. I'll read it real quick. It says a bill recently introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives would put the brakes on certain predatory lease purchase agreements in the trucking industry. And I'm going to tell you, any trucking company where the majority of their drivers are doing lease purchases and they're making, honestly, they're taking home under $2,000, they're pretty much predatory. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because you have company drivers that are making, bringing home at least 15.
Right.
Okay. So it says on September 17th, 2025, Representative Julia Brownlee introduced the Predatory Truck Leasing Prevention Act of 2025, or H.R.5423. The bill directs the U.S. Secretary of Transportation to create regulations to prohibit predatory commercial vehicle lease purchase programs. This has been going on for decades, Ruthann. It has. These scumbag companies, they should be ashamed of themselves. They call these guys owner-operators, right? And they literally take home, like I said, I'll say it about 1 million times, they take home less than a company driver. And they have to do their own taxes. It's a sham. It says the bill also requires the Secretary of Transportation to establish a process by which drivers may be granted relief from their lease purchase program if the Secretary finds that the terms of the lease purchase agreement violated regulations. The bill defines a predatory lease purchase program as the term predatory commercial motor vehicle lease purchase agreement program means the framework of the motor carrier driver relationship, including the lease purchase agreement, the contract of the driver's work for the motor carrier, and the motor carrier's practices in implementing the contracts that are not provided in the contract, including the motor carrier's recruitment practices, operational practices, and tax finance practices, whereby the motor carrier controls the work compensation and debts of the driver, and the driver accrues no equity or is forced to give up equity accrued in the contracted truck. Do you know how many drivers have lease purchased a truck and they were there for like a year, maybe if they lasted that long, and then they started starving them out, and maybe that same truck had maybe 10 different drivers that went through trying to own that truck, but they were never going to be able to. They were never going to let them. There's companies that allow you to, maybe make a decent dollar, and then towards the end they start starving you so they don't have to give that truck away. There's so much that is designed against the working man for these guys that own these trucks. And it's all about their profit. They don't care. And I'm not saying that there isn't a good lease purchase out there. I'm saying if you're a company and your drivers are making literally less than company drivers and you're not showing them the rate con, okay, and then there's companies out there that have all these little charges that just add up to like so much. I couldn't tell you how many truck drivers told me they can't even understand the way their settlements look because of this being taken out, what they don't even know what this charge even means, blah, 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 blah.
I would get my invoice or my settlement, whatever you want to call it that you get that has your pay amount to you. I would highlight everything in a different color. One color for the, what is this? Like, I have no idea what this means. And then the other color for, why is this amount instead of the amount you originally agreed upon? Or, why is it lower or anything like that? That way, and then kind of make a key, like yellow is why, what is this? That way it's easier for you to understand, but I would take it and I'd do it quickly because that way you're not losing more and more money. Go in there and say, I want answers to this, because they have to give you those answers. If they don't give you those answers, you walk away because they're not answering it enough to where, you're at least purchasing that truck. But the thing is if they're breaking their contract with you and not giving you the information that is on that settlement that you're needing to know what charges there are, they're literally breaking that contract. So you're not being held responsible then at that point.
Well, see, you bring up a good point, because with the amount of drivers that call in that I've talked to, literally they'll be like, "So Troy, what can I do? You know, I'm in a lease. I signed a contract, right?" And they'll be like, "You know, is this going to hurt my credit? What grounds do I have?" And my answer is the same for every lease purchase driver in the United States. There's no such thing as a locked-in lease purchase. Every one of them are called a walk-away lease. If you have somebody out there that locks you in, the only one that can lock you in is really somebody where you go to a dealership, okay, and you're leasing or you are renting off of, like Penske. If you sign a deal, you got to at least pay the terms, or if you're financing your vehicle. But a trucking company cannot keep you there. They cannot force you to stay in that lease purchase. That's the big deal. Okay, a lot of them think that they're getting locked into this. Some of these companies lead these guys to believe that you know, it's going to hurt their credit and all this other good stuff. It's not. They can't.
It's scare tactics.
It's scare tactics. Exactly. There's so much going on right now with I believe, from the interviews that we've done. Now, we've been doing this podcast. Literally, we're officially 10 years into this. We started TalkCDL, Trucking Podcast in like November. Well, okay, so November of 15. Okay, I remember when Tyler created the Facebook page. Okay, and so we're almost officially, I should say, at 10 years. And I've had more drivers that I've interviewed that are not making money on leasing, and there's leasing and there's lease purchasing. And here's what I would give you advice on what you should ask a trucking company if you're going to try to lease purchase. Number one, okay, you should ask them if you get to see the rate con. Number two, obviously, here's some differences. If a company says you're getting 80% and they're doing broker loads, okay, if you're really going to get 80%, all right, it might not be too bad, but right now in this day of time, I would say I wouldn't do it because of the lack of freight, and the rates are not the greatest. Okay, but if they tell you you're getting 70%, but you're hauling customer freight or freight they produce, and there's no broker or no middleman involved, that 70% is going to be way higher to you than 80% of somebody on the spot market. See, if I was back in driving, Ruthann, I would not do a lease purchase if I was doing spot market. If I was dealing with brokers, I would not do it. Because you're not. Do you realize what broker freight means? That means there's too many people sticking their hands in your
middlemen.
Right. The guy that always gets screwed is the working man. I'm going to tell you that. No matter where you go, the guy that's doing the labor, the guy that does the work, predominantly is the one that takes a screwing. Okay. And so when you go for these lease purchases, this is not like COVID time. During COVID time, okay, brokers were up, their backs were against the wall, and there was a period, a big period where there was less truck drivers and too much freight, and the brokers had to pay these insane amounts, and truck drivers were really making money. Guys, don't base anything on that. Those times are over. I'm going to tell you that right now. The only way those times are ever going to be back again is if there's an emergency and there's more freight than people to haul it. Then you're going to make a lot of money, but that's not the case, and it's not usually the case. Okay, so my advice would be check to see what they have for customers. Check to see what the average, what is, okay, so you're telling me 70%, what's the average rate, right? So then you could figure out. And then I would want to know what really comes out. Okay, I know some companies right now, all right, where a driver could go in there. In fact, I know some companies right now where their lease is so good, they haven't had an opening in like 2 years. They literally haven't.
That's one that respects the driver then.
Well, first off, they own their own freight, right? And everything is free. Base plates, permits, fuel stickers, trailer rental. Everything that they do is free except for obviously your liability, your bobtail. and your truck payment. Okay. And then on top of that, they actually give you a fuel surcharge. And that's really where it goes big for. See, this is where trucking companies snag you. Okay.
Snag.
They put you in a snag. Okay, they'll charge you $400 a week for a trailer. They'll charge you for your base plates. They'll charge you for every little thing, fees that you never even heard of, right? And they're not telling you the rate, so that means they're skimming. If a load pays $2,000, they're showing you $1,500. Okay, and then they tell you the fuel surcharge is built right in, and that's the biggest lie in the world. The fuel surcharge is never built in. It's never, if you have somebody that says it's built in, let me tell you something, it's never built in. Forget that.
Because it fluctuates. Can't be built in.
It's not built in. It's a surcharge. And truck drivers are supposed to be getting it for the high. Let me tell you how, and I'm going to explain to you how the DOE determines their fuel surcharge. And I've done this a couple of years ago. I did this on the show. I'm going to show you now how it works. Okay. $1.20 is the peg, what they call the peg. Now listen to this. $1.20 is the peg. That means when fuel hit $1.20, which was quite a while ago, okay,
Eons.
right? They started saying, okay, for every 6 cents that goes over $1.20, the truck driver is supposed to get a penny. Now, it don't sound like a lot, but let me show you the math. What is the average fuel price right now? Let's just say, for the heck,
$3.95.
is that what it is? Let's just say it's $3.95. Okay, so you would take $3.95. Are you ready for this? And you would subtract $1.20 off that. That's the peg. This is how the DOE does it. That leaves you with $2.75. You divide 0.06 cents into the 275, and guess what you got this week? 45.8 cents. So that means if somebody ran 3,000 miles for you, right, that would be 3,000 miles times that equals $1,375 is what a truck driver should be getting right now for every 3,000 miles. I'm not talking about anything but the actual surcharge, and that covers almost all of his fuel. That's where these truck drivers can make money if they're being paid correctly. If it's a correct legal lease or lease purchase. That's the only way you're going to make it if the company's not screwing you. And the ones that aren't giving you this surcharge according to the DOE, they're screwing you. The ones that are jacking trailer rentals up to $1,000, $2,000 a month, that's ridiculous. The ones that are charging you insane amount of money for a truck payment, that's you guys got to stop. Just because they say to you, well, you can bring home $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a week. You're not going to bring that home if you can't look at the contract and look exactly what comes out of your pay and the exact average mileage rate for you to be able to calculate it. And I'm telling you, they're not going to show you that. They're never going to show you that. You understand that? So I would tell everybody out there, okay, be really, really careful of little terms like fuel surcharges built in. Okay. Yeah, we're no force dispatch. You know what? If you're on broker loads, you're pretty much going to have to take what they get because there ain't a lot of that out there.
And who does who's the actual person that pays out the fuel surcharge?
Well, they're supposed to be charging the customer, and so is the broker. And the brokers are freaking liars. Most of them are liars anyways. They're getting surcharged. Okay, and if they're telling the desperate company that needs the load, okay, then the desperate company's getting screwed. But then they're screwing back to the driver. But I know a lot of those trucking companies are getting fuel surcharges, and they're keeping it. It's almost like if a driver, now listen to this, if you're doing flatbed lease purchase, these guys, are you ready for this? These freaking trucking companies, like if they're getting paid, say $100, $150 to tarp a load, they're taking $50 out or $100 out and giving the owner operator $50 to $100, and they're keeping some. You're not the one tarping the load, trucking company. Okay? You don't deserve a penny of that man's labor. And I'm going to tell you something else. You don't deserve a penny of his fuel surcharge because you're not the one paying for the freaking fuel.
No. That's why I mentioned it, because I don't think a lot of drivers understand all of that. So if you have company Ruth Ann, right, and you have driver Troy, and we have broker Bob in between us here that's brokering my freight for you. So you contact broker Bob and you say, all right, I like Ruth Ann's freight that she's shipping here and I like that price. So give me all of the details. And they tell you that it's $400. I know I'm really low. $400. And
can you go?
I was going to try and do it simple, but you know, me and math, I'm like, I just lost myself. But basically what I was going to say is what drivers need to know is don't just ask for the simple details. What you need to ask them is, what's my fuel charge that you're going to, my fuel surcharge that they're paying? What's my rate? What extra bonuses, not bonuses, but what extra fees are included in all that, because you don't want to keep getting ripped off. That's money that's being taken out of your pocket, whether you're doing it as a one truck person going right to the broker, or if you're doing it through a company going to the broker. You don't want to keep getting ripped off. I mean, that's stupid.
So, I'll say it again. You trucking companies that are ripping truck drivers off, you're in a lot of trouble. I'm gonna listen, if a trucking company pays a truck driver, right, X amount of, he's a W-2 company truck driver, right, and they pay the guy literally, like, say, 60 cents a mile, and the guy runs 3,000 miles, okay, 3 times 6 is 1,800, right? Right, so that'd be $1,800 minus taxes. The guy's probably bringing home maybe $1,300, $1,400, right? That guy legitimately was just paid 60 cents a mile, and they're doing his taxes, and he's still able to bring home $1,400. But then a trucking company, say right beside them, is saying, "Hey, you're a lease purchase driver." They're not doing the guy's taxes. Right? They're not doing anything. The guy's running the same miles. He's delivering the same kind of loads, but yet they're telling him at the end of the day that his paycheck is $300. How can you justify that? Oh, I hate when I accidentally leave the dinger on and my phone is dinging. Anyways, you can't. You can't justify that. You can't say that one trucking company is able to have their company drivers bring home X amount of dollars, and another guy that's supposed to be a lease purchase hauling the same kind of freight is losing money. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
It's just greed. A lot of American companies here, I say American because they're in America. But, they might be ran by foreign people. I don't care about any of that. What I'm saying is they've gotten so greedy.
Yeah, American companies, foreign companies, all of them.
So greedy that they're literally slicing the throats of the people that do the transportation. And then what happens is, it's all a ball that keeps running, because that cost is still going to end up coming to the people that are buying the product. It's like, what are you doing? Because of your greed that you want to be this top dog, you're sitting there overcharging for your product. And then on top of that, you're sitting there slicing the throats of the people that are doing all the travel for you.
They don't care about that.
I know.
So, and what Ruth Ann's saying is, you could, foreign company, American company, it doesn't matter. Greed has no preference.
Right. It's
okay. It doesn't matter. Democrat, Republican, greed has no preference. It don't matter who you are. If you're a company that is ripping off a truck driver, his hard labor, I'm telling you, they're coming for you. And I hope they really put out big fines for these guys. I really do. I hope they start getting big fines. And I'll tell you what I also hope. I hope that these truck drivers are able to file class action lawsuits and have these companies pay the wages that they could calculate they should have gotten, over the last couple of years from these companies. I hope they really do.
Well, I was going to tell the driver, if you have a fee on your settlement that you're not knowing what it is, you need to go back to the very beginning of it, and you need to see how much you've actually paid out in this fee that you are not known about. That should be coming back to you. If you don't know of this fee, if it's one that's an unknown fee that you shouldn't be charged, You could have hundreds of dollars, even thousands of dollars.
But you know what? I have these truck drivers that'll tell me they ask and ask and ask, and nobody wants to give them answers. So that's another frustrating part when you're a truck driver and you're out there doing the work and you're trying to call and ask, what's this charge? What's that charge? Why does my paycheck look lower? And they don't want to give you answers, but you're going to just keep on going and working. It can get monotonous. It's crazy. But I'm going to tell you something. I know some good companies, because you know how many companies call here. Okay. I know some companies right now that have literally showed me their drivers' settlements. And I'm telling you right now, in 2025, I've seen settlements on truck drivers that are making $2,500 take home, $3,500 take home, $4,000 take home. These are trucking companies that are not even advertising because their lease purchase is filled and they keep their drivers happy and their drivers ain't going anywhere. But they do exactly the opposite of what the predatory lease purchase companies are doing. They literally pay them the right percentage. They pay them a fuel surcharge. They don't charge for certain things. It's all transparent. Okay. I met a trucking company the other day. You know what their weekly cost is with truck payment, insurances, and everything? It's under $800. Under $800. The average out there is probably $1,600 plus fuel. Okay. Yeah. The average truck driver probably pays at least $3,000 to $3,500 a week before he even makes a penny. Okay. Before he even makes a penny. And there's a lot of these trucking companies out there that are literally just taking from these guys, and it's about to stop. Anyways, I don't want to start repeating myself a million times, which I think I am. So let's move on.
Moving on.
I just wanted them to know the message was to you trucking companies that think you're getting away with it. It's been that many. Let me tell you something. They wouldn't be doing a predatory lease protection program if there wasn't that many out there that were screwing truckers. Okay. If it was one or two, this wouldn't even be being talked about.
No, it was brought to their attention, and now they're going to look into it because it was too much, too many complaints.
You got that right. Moving on. Let's take a break.
Moving on. Attention trucking companies and truck drivers. If you need help with cash flow, we've got help on the way. Turn to Tab Bank, the bank that knows trucking. Tab Bank has been in the business of helping truck drivers and trucking companies with their cash flow needs for 25 years. It's just that simple. It's what they do. But they don't stop there. Tab Bank helps grow your business with their invoice, factoring, and banking services. What a plus that is. Before you book your next load, play it safe and contact Tab Bank to get their help with your factoring needs. Tab Bank helps determine the credit worthiness of your customers as well as billing and collection efforts on invoices that you factor with them. Let the experts at Tab Bank get you cash quickly for the loads you deliver. Again, it's what they do. Visit tabbank.com/TalkCDL to learn more. That's tabbank.com/TalkCDL. Tab Bank member FDIC.
If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job, check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them TalkCDL sent you. Hey, you had that article about, and actually we don't really even need to read it, but that guy, where was he pulled over? He had two girls, 14 and...
Utah.
How old were the girls?
12 and 14.
12 and 14 in a reefer. And I was reading how when they pulled him over, right? Or no, he got into an accident. So the cops seen eyes. I guess, the little door in the back? Because it said the cops noticed little eyes looking out. Unless there was a hole in the reefer. I have no idea what happened, okay, to where they could see the eyes. They might have opened the little, that little vent door in the back. And the cops seen a couple little eyes. And the guy goes, oh, they're just kids. And so they open it up. And here there's a 12 and 14-year-old girl in there. It was 29.5 degrees in the reefer. Mm-hmm. Right? And so naturally, what do the cops think?
Oh, trafficking.
Trafficker, right? Oh, this guy's a trafficker. I mean, that's the first thing I'm thinking, right? So, I'm assuming the same thing. Well, they arrest this guy, no bail, and charge him with at the very least child abuse. This is a trucker, right? Not a very bright trucker.
No, I mean, he had two humans in a 29.5 degree.
Yeah, I mean, and they're just little girls, right? And they said there was backpacks in there, so
Yeah, bedding.
Didn't look good, right? And then he had freight in there too. So, anyways, the second article came out, and here they're his stepsisters, and they were on their way to visit somebody. So that makes you even more of a dumbass. Okay, you're going to take your two sisters and stick them in a reefer that's 29.5 degrees. Okay.
Why don't you just put them in the tractor?
I don't think the little girls went, we're sweating. Do you have a place cooler than in here? That's just the most ridiculous thing I've heard. I don't even get that thinking. But you know what? What's really weird is he's still in jail with no bail. And they said, yeah, we believe it was his sisters and all this other stuff, right? But for some reason, he's still in jail with no bail. Something's going on there, right?
I think they're trying to get some more information going on there.
Yeah.
It is Utah.
Like Chet would say, meow. Meow. Meow.
Troy's new TikTok.
Meow. Meow. So anyways, but that's really all I really want to talk about. I did want to talk about something else, but I'm going to kind of just save it for the next podcast. What do you got for the word of the? Do you have the word of the day, or do you have something else you want to talk about?
Well, I did want to give a warning out there to some drivers.
What do you got?
There was a driver, a driver went to El Paso, Texas, and he was getting some work done on his tractor, and he confronted or went to a mechanic, a businessman, and the businessman was overcharging. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because for some reason they agreed on $1,500 to get the service done. Driver's like, no problem. When the service was done, the businessman was, his name is Johnny Justin Flores.
And this guy's in El Paso?
El Paso. He's 29 years old. He said to the driver, you've got 15 minutes to pay it. Driver's like, oh my gosh, okay. Pays it within the 15 minutes. But the guy, the mechanic or whoever, wouldn't release his tractor. So the driver and this businessman are getting in a fight. Police are called. Police check it out. And they're like, well, what's going on? And, the driver's like, hey, the guy did the work. I paid him for the work, but he won't give me my tractor. And the guy's like, a tractor's in there. So the police finally get into this guy's business, gets the tractor, brings it out to the driver. And here on the invoice, the businessman, it's hard to really, I'm having a hard time calling him a businessman, was charging triple the amount of the $1,500 or $1,200. He was charging triple the amount of the $1,200.
$3,600
to do the work because he paid 15. He's trying to say he paid 15 minutes late. Why are you giving a 15-minute window to a driver to pay for an invoice? First of all, I don't understand that.
So here's what it sounds like you just said. The charge was $1,200, but he told him $1,500, and then he said you have 15 minutes to pay it. And because he didn't have it paid within the 15 minutes, he tacked on like another
$3,600.
Like he made the total $3,600.
Yeah, they're trying to. It didn't really give the exact. It's just a triple the amount.
Sounds actually confusing.
Well, and that's what I'm confused on that. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because if you were around this guy getting practice, this Johnny Justin Flores, it's near Sparks in El Paso. If you happen to get service done by him and you encountered something similar, you need to go to the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and tell them that, hey, I ran into this guy and had the same situation. Because first of all, you shouldn't be scammed by someone, period. You're a driver, you're out there doing your work, you're paying your bill. You shouldn't be getting scammed like this. But people that are doing this need to be outed, and you need to get compensation back from if you had to pay that. This is your tractor, your livelihood.
You know what the bad part about this is, and we've seen all these, like, for example, the booting of the trucks, right, in like parking lots. If they parked in the wrong spot, they'll put a boot on them or on their windshield to where they can't move. And then they got like this $4,000 bill, right? You either do it or we're going to tow your truck. And the problem is they think that truck drivers are rich. They think big truck, the truck is, $180,000. A $4,000 bill is nothing to these guys. But they don't realize that the guy driving it most likely is not sitting fat rich. Maybe the trucking company owner has money, but the poor guy driving it, and you're screwing the working guy. They literally think that big truck means big money. That's what they think. When it comes to insurance or being paid, and a lot of times the truck driver gets screwed that doesn't have a lot of money.
Right.
And this is where the problem is. So truck drivers, I would warn you guys, be careful. You are a target. You know what happened to me one time? I was literally, oh my gosh, I was a rookie driver, right? And I was on the, I'm trying to think what it's called. Not the Verrazano, but the bridge before that, the Outer Bridge Crossing, right? The toll. I was on the toll going to Brooklyn, right? And this was a rookie mistake. It was my literal first month ever driving. And I think it was a 10-speed I had, right? And so when I had to stop to pay the toll, this was a stop and pay the toll deal, right? Mm-hmm. Well,
the old school ways.
And so I stopped, paid the toll. I pulled out, right? Or no, I went to pull out. And I stalled it because I was still on the high side, right? No, I'm just being honest. I did it. It was a mistake. Big deal. I own the mistake. Well, anyways, so a wrecker shows up, and I'm like, well, hold on. I got to call my company. He's got to, pick the wrecker. He goes, no, that's not the rule. I own the rights. So, like in New York, they own rights in certain areas, and literally all he did was towed me to the end of the bridge, and they had a shop right under the bridge. That tow job was like 2 miles. It was $1,500. This was like years ago.
Wow.
Exactly, man. I was like, it was a rookie mistake, but it was such a scam. It was like they just wait for any trucker that they got to tow, and they just and if you don't pay it, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. That would be like being charged probably $10,000 today to go 2 miles. It was just a total scam. But anyways, yeah, guys, just remember one thing. When you're out there, be careful. You're not only a target for crime when you're in different areas, you are also a target for scam artists trying to scam other truckers. I'm telling you, be careful of what you're dealing with out there because they're out to scam you. Mm-hmm. I mean that. So my brother's out there driving a rig. Stay strong, but be vigilant. Be very vigilant of what's around you because some of them are looking to stick their hand in your pocket. That's my podcast for the week, Ruth Ann. Do you have the word of the day?
I do.
Let's hear it. You got it right now?
Blithesome.
Drew Bledsoe? Okay. What did you say? What did you say? Bladsome?
No.
Go. Let's hear it.
Blithesome.
Blithesome. BLITHE.
Right.
Blithesome. 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 Boy, that was a tongue
Okay,
twister.
what's the definition to it?
Of a person having a cheerful personality. You are not blithesome.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm unblithesome.
Or filled with, marked by, or causing pleasure.
But if I want to get my way, I could be very sweet and have a blithesome personality. I could fake blithesome it. I'm just kidding.
You scam artist.
All right, we're out of here.
Peace.
Praise the Lord.